Cool. We're live. Live show in just a minute, Twitch peoples.
Oh, goddamn.
Another edition of the Oh No Wrestling podcast. This is your first time listening. Well, I'm the captain of this ship. My name is Owen, the king. Well, no, I'm not the king. Gosh, got it all wrong already. I'm the Sharp Break Kid. Along with me is good old Clint Bobski himself, and the king of Bong Style makes his grand return to the Oh No Wrestling podcast. How we doing tonight, boys?
Feeling great, good brothers. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right. Coming off a pretty insane pay-per-view this past weekend that I'm sure we'll be discussing.
You're not going to say a 3-day weekend because it's been a 2-month weekend.
Yeah, no kidding.
I only had a 2-day weekend, actually. I had to work
you are, like, that's actually rare for you
to
have only a 2-day weekend.
It's like an actual weekend.
You get a 1-day weekend.
Well, this is our first time live doing this thing on Twitch, especially with the video component. This will be a little bit of trial and error, as it's been for also the Ono Radio show. But we're happy to report we're going to be trying to do this once a week. We're going to be aiming for, if it's not all three of us, maybe just the two of us. And doing this thing once a week every Tuesday evening. So without further ado, do we just get right into it, man?
Let's get right into it.
I think we need to. Guys, double or nothing. Setting the bar pretty high once again, especially for these empty arena shows.
Especially after that shit show that they called Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
What that was.
Yeah, exactly.
I still haven't even watched that. Owen told me not to bother, and I took his advice.
Yeah.
I would second what Owen said. Just don't waste your time.
Exactly. I just know it's gonna make Duncan mad, and
and
we
be very mad.
And we don't need that. We don't need that.
Because I was already sour on wrestling anyway for a couple weeks there, just because it was just like, all right, fine. Like, and it wasn't because I didn't want, but just because lack of ability to watch AEW, which was the only thing holding my attention.
Yeah.
Just made it very difficult. And then, but like the pay-per-view brought me back in. And I was just like, oh, cool. Thank God this is something, because it's not. Man, the PC shows, the empty PC shows just seem so sterile.
Yeah, they're very sterile.
Like, it just doesn't have any emotion to it. And I know the superstars are trying their fucking asses off. Like, I know that, and more power to them. But it just, I'm trying to be invested in it, and it's just really hard for me to be invested in it.
No, it is. It's real hard to be invested in it at this point. But I still, like you said, I still just haven't fallen out of love with the AEW thing. I mean, right off the bat, we've talked about it a million times and probably beaten this horse to death, but just that little bit of interaction and just having those fans around the ring make a tremendous difference. They really do.
Well, and the fact that it's the wrestlers that are there anyway.
Yeah.
Just, if they're not going to be doing anything, fucking put them at ringside.
Well, it's cool to see like another side of the wrestlers also, just for
them to be fans of what they want to be fans of.
Exactly. You know,
I've loved the interactions between MJF and Sean Spears as well. I thought those have been really funny. The gambling on the matches and drinking the wine and all that. Like,
oh my God. They're just, that's fantastic.
Well, that leads me into Monday night, yesterday evening. Raw did their first attempt at something similar. Duncan, last time Owen and I talked prior to Double or Nothing, we were saying that probably one of the reasons why WWE had not done it yet was because Cody or someone is going to make a smart remark. And I think that's still to come, but I think it'll just be a quick remark and then passing. But to Owen's point from the last show, I think that they said, well, we got to, like, if we're going to do it, we have to do it some kind of different way in order to make it look like it's not the same. They had already changed like the hard cam angle the way AEW did, remember, when all this first started happening. So I don't know. What do you guys think of the use of the plexiglass, that kind of like hockey arena type thing?
First, I just want to say that we got to give it up for our boy and friend of the show that doesn't know he's a friend of the show, Sidney I. King, for making his WWE TV debut last night, taking a hell of a headbutt from Drew McIntyre.
No, absolutely, and good to see him getting his first little bits of TV time.
Yeah, and nice. He was just like, man, it was a long ass day, but it was so nice to be back in the PC and like back actually doing stuff again. So it's like, because he hasn't been in there.
Oh, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't been in there since the shutdown started. Basically, it was essential personnel only.
Right. So has he been was he furloughed for a while then, or?
No. I think he's been still taken care of the whole time. And he's just been like having to do a lot of improvised training.
Sure.
And stuff like that. I know he went back home to St. Louis for a little bit, and he was just like, man, I gotta get back. They're talking about setting up rings. Maybe the PC will be opening. So yeah, he's definitely in it. So it was awesome to see him make his debut. So we'll definitely get him on the show.
Yeah, it'd be great to talk to him.
Yeah, but man, it was I didn't hate it. I was like, you could give these people chairs.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big thing I saw in a lot of articles and comments. Apparently, they didn't even let them like sit. It was like an all-day thing. They made them stand there like all day long.
God.
I guess they only broke out chairs when they were like not doing any sort of filming and like during like those kind of extended breaks. But the little breaks and stuff like that, they didn't let them sit down. I'm like, first of all, I'm an old ass man. I can't fucking handle that shit.
Fucking that long, yeah. No thanks.
Like, my knees suck that bad when I have to stand up for that long.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. What are your thoughts on the plexiglass thing?
I think it's bullshit. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think it's fucking bullshit. And I think for a company like WWE, who's not giving a fuck about like the social distancing and like anything like that, I think it's fucking stupid.
It really, I
think it's absolutely fucking stupid.
It's clearly they've done this, I believe, to probably prepare for having live audiences, and that'll just be what they're doing for live audiences. They clearly didn't need that last night if they're already supposedly like self-quarantined together and all of this. Like, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm not really sure what
the wrestlers in the crowd, they were saying that they did the rapid tests on them, and then they didn't let them leave. Once they tested and got the test results, they all had to stay together. They took them on a bus to the performance center together and took them off and let them get off. Like, they couldn't drive themselves or anything like that. So it was very strict. But I did read another article today saying that WWE is looking at putting on live events with fans. They were looking towards SummerSlam,
July,
but Boston is not allowing until September for there to be groups and gatherings of people in that large amount, even if you're doing social distancing and such. But I guess what they're looking at starting in July is like, if they have the ability to do like all of the rapid testing for everyone that comes like into the building, then they would be able to be at more capacity than just the 50% or something. They would still have some social distance guidelines, but like everyone coming in would have to be tested, wait for that rapid test result, and get the thermometer test and everything like that. Then you could go in.
Right. So what you're telling me is for any event that we may attend, we're probably going to be sitting there for 2-3 hours before we're even allowed into the arena.
Yeah, and your ass better not fucking sneeze, cough, fart, like anything.
Oh yeah, exactly. God forbid you burned one on the way in.
Right.
You fucking got a little bit of that residual, like.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Yeah, or you've been sitting in a hot car or in the sun. They're like, sorry, you're a little too hot.
Yeah. Or you're just a little hungover like me, and you're burning up.
Yeah, you smell like weed. You've been burning up. I've actually been a little concerned about the whole like being outside, like because I walk to work.
Yeah.
And if they start doing temperature testing when they reopen, or just even for going as guests, like I'm like, can I walk right now? Like, is that option even open? And B, is being outside for 30 minutes on a walk from my house to the testing location, is that going to make me test positive if it's hot as fuck in the Florida sun?
I mean, they're obviously going to have to make some, considerations for that type of thing, I would think.
I would think.
At least
one would think. Pretty good. I mean, most mammals are pretty good at regulating below what you, like. I don't think you're going to get to like 101, 102 degrees.
Yeah.
Just walk.
You might have actually something wrong with you at that point anyway, if that's the case. So
yeah,
that's true. Yeah. If you get a fever just from walking, I'm just like, I don't think I get a fever from walking. I'm pretty goddamn out of shape right now.
But
maybe the way to get around it is just be like, well, if you're gonna give me a thermometer test, I prefer the rectal.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do have some people in the chat room. Waken Fieldy says it's glad to see Duncan, and I dig this. So thank you for being in the chat room, and good to have you with us this evening. Do you know who that is, Duncan? I don't know who that is.
I don't, but thanks for saying it's nice to see me. I'll be here. Tuesday nights are my early nights at work when I actually have a job. So
so that might even work out. That's great. That's awesome. That's
serendipitous.
Hell yeah! No, that's fantastic. Back to Double or Nothing, though.
Double or Nothing.
I think we should obviously go through this. I think it was overall it was a really good pay-per-view. I don't know about it. Like a couple of people have said, like, oh, it's one of the best pay-per-views ever. I'm not going that far at all.
First of all, Double or Nothing last year was better. Just because we were there.
That's 100%. And obviously being
it was also a better show.
It was
also a better show.
It was.
But I mean, circumstances have changed. The world is drastically different these days.
Right.
So.
Yeah, if that's how the look that you want to take on it and be a realist, sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, so the show started off obviously with the pre-show, the real respectable match. The Best Friends versus Private Party. And good showing by both. Always liked seeing those guys, man. I never would have thought that like Chucky T and the Best Friends would have been one of my favorite teams in AEW, especially when the whole thing first started. They were just kind of there for me. And in the past, few months, I'll say, they've really turned into probably one of my favorite teams on the roster. And obviously with the connection with total sleepers. And I'm forgetting the other guy's names. Chuck Taylor and what's his fucking name? Trent. Trent's like really good. Trent is really, really good. Chucky T makes me laugh because he's got kind of like the dad bod. Like he's sort of got that weird puppy fat thing on him. Do you know what I mean? He's a little puffy. But he's
the Kentucky gentleman.
Like,
man, it's just like, it's weird because I watched a bunch of old PWG a couple years ago when I first got High Spots, and they're like, those two were all over it. So it's just like, okay, like I get the Best Friends thing a little bit more. And now that it's like everybody from the indies that they signed that's been able to kind of show off what got them over on the indies gradually has been getting them over on TV, and it's really awesome to see.
Yeah, because you're seeing just a mainstream audience accept something that they had no idea about, a year ago. I mean, a lot of the wrestlers in the AEW, when I was at Double or Nothing, last year when we were all there were quite a few wrestlers I had no friggin' clue who they were.
Right.
But now, a year later, here we are. Like, there's some, it shows you how much they've accomplished within a year to build the company.
Well, and I remember when Duncan first started showing me some of the PWG stuff, and some of the stuff on high spots and everything like that. And I remember the first couple of times that I saw Chucky T, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm into this, man. I was like, he's kind of annoying. And then
right,
it was like, a dickhead. Yeah, it was like maybe 4 or 5 matches in. I was like, kind of fucking like this guy. I'm getting it. Like, I'm getting it. I'm getting the whole best friends. I'm getting but for some reason, I just thought he was like such like a douche or something like that. Like, just which totally, and he like plays off that, but he does it so well. And they do it so well that I think it's awesome. But I remember you showed me the first few times, and the first couple of times we were watching matches, I was like, "Who the fuck is that, dude?"
You're like, what is this, dude? Sometimes indie wrestling and that style will take a minute to to grow on you, and then kind of when it does, you're just like, "Oh, I get it."
Oh, they're selling the gimmick super hard, and like and it's way out, and like they're like living it. Yeah.
100%. So yeah, real respectable pre-show match. Nothing too crazy, but obviously Chucky T and Trent with the win. Then it moves into the actual opening of the show, and goddamn, what a hell of a way to open a pay-per-view.
Hey, talk about actually having a ladder match and really like using ladders.
Using ladders.
Like I don't know, Money in the Bank. They should have maybe thought of doing that and had like more than 2 minutes of wrestling in the actual fucking ring.
Yeah, it's a good point.
All the clips I've seen from Money in the Bank make it look like the GameCube game WrestleMania 18, and it legitimately it was like all backstage segments. Like there was one part where you had to fight through the storyline as Brock Lesnar through the upper levels of a construction site.
I do not remember this game.
Me neither.
WrestleMania X8 for the GameCube.
Huh.
I swear. I know the game exists. I could be confusing it with a different, but there was a game where you did hardly any wrestling and you did mostly backstage weird shit like that. And that's sort of what all of the clips I've seen from Money in the Bank kind of look like. And
sure.
They should have just called it Money in the Office.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they should have called it Money in the Office. And also, on the last show, we talked about this, Duncan, but like my biggest qualm was that it took them so long to get to the top. And I understand they were trying to show off, Titan Towers and everything like that. But regardless, there's not much wrestling you can do when you're just running through hallways and shit like that.
Yeah,
exactly. So like you're literally just like kicking and punching and throwing people into wall. And like it's just like it just is messy, Yeah.
I was also not a fan of, you haven't seen the match, Duncan, but I was not a fan of like they put a score underneath it, like a musical score. Like sort of like they did, of course, with the Boneyard match and what have you, which worked. But there was no reason really for a score for this match. It didn't fit at all, and it took me really out of it.
Yeah, okay. I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna be like, hard pass on that one.
Yeah, nah, that didn't work at all. But this ladder match to open up the show at Double or Nothing, I loved the concept of it. First off, I thought it worked really well, and it being kind of like a reverse Rumble-ish type thing combined with a ladder match and having the little breaks in between and setting up, everybody gets their spots in without
gets their shit in. That's cardinal rule number 1.
Yep, and without it seeming like so contrived, because there's so many ladder matches where there's so much going on that you have to, for people to get their shit in, you need a huge spot where it takes all the guys out on the outside and then they lay on the outside for 3.5 years until it's them time for them.
Aged and had to have our licenses renewed.
Yeah.
Well, I will say I like that they gave enough time for Orange Cassidy to actually get in there, put the ladder just down flat and stand up, and
has no concept how ladders work just in general.
My favorite part of that was when he went over to Excalibur and he was just like, so
what? Yeah,
how's this work?
Like the first minute of him in there. Yeah.
Hey, he's just like, he's like, Tony tried to explain it to you
all day.
Times.
Yeah, 2,000 times. All day he's been explaining it to you. You still don't get it, huh? And it's just like,
I love that they'll poke at themselves.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes AEW fun to watch. And that's what makes NXT fun to watch when they do it.
Yeah, because they can.
Yeah.
And there was a time even in WWE where you'd get a little bit of that here and there, like on the main roster. And it feels like
you get a little poke.
But I feel like, lately it really is just kind of like they take themselves too seriously in a lot of the ways.
Well, I was bummed to not see Rey Fenix, obviously with the injury that he had sustained. I thought Joey Janela was a good substitute.
Yep.
He came out and fucking went after it, which I thought was awesome.
Best Joey Janela moment was fucking motherfucker.
Yep. So I thought that was great. I will say, like Colt was great, everyone else, but I mean, Colt's always great.
Yeah.
But also, what do you guys think about that wild card? I know we had gone through Owen on the last show, and Brian Cage was one that I had mentioned,
right,
as a possibility that could come in, and he came in and won it.
No, absolutely. I'm not sure about the whole relationship with Taz and that whole thing. I guess I don't know. I'm not super familiar with Brian Cage. I know he's incredibly athletic. I hear he's really quite good on the stick. I've just not really heard him.
I don't know how good he is on the stick. I've never really I know he was in Lucha Underground.
I know he was in Impact, right? He was definitely in Impact.
Yeah, he's definitely in Impact. He was the world champion, but then he had I think a bicep tear or a tricep tear or something pretty significant that kept him out. And this was his return after surgery. This is the first time that he's done anything since that. So
he's a big boy.
He's a big boy. The first time I ever saw him was before Lucha Underground, because I gave that 2 episodes and then killed it the first time I tried to watch it because I didn't get it.
Yeah. I think I need to go. I need to go revisit it. We might like it a lot more now than we did.
I think we would all love it a lot more.
Yeah.
Because it's all these guys that we watch on AEW on the regular. And the first match I saw Brian Cage in was at Bar Wrestling against Scorpio Sky. And,
right.
It was ridiculous.
Chat room is saying, by the way, that he thinks that they're going for a Taz version kind of of Heyman, and that Cage does in fact suck on the mic. So that does make sense then why you'd have Taz, in his corner.
There had to be a reason. I didn't want to jump to that conclusion because my jump to conclusions, Matt, is over there.
Yeah.
But I did have that feeling that he might not be the best on the mic.
Sure.
Well, and regarding his size, I'm sure you guys saw, but when they were asking Moxley in interviews and stuff and press afterwards about it, and he was just like, fuck, they're not getting any smaller.
Yeah.
Right?
Between him and Lance Archer, Jesus Christ.
No kidding. No kidding. Overall, a really great match. I think highlights for me were pretty much a lot of the Orange Cassidy stuff. Not being super familiar with Cage, I don't think I got the same pop and reaction that maybe a lot of other people did.
I don't like his music. I don't like that Taz intro. Who can stop the cult of Cage?
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Pretty stupid.
I will say, and I don't want to overlook him before we get off of this, but Darby Allin, man,
dude,
he always doing crazy. He's always doing crazy shit and has been for a long time. But I mean, I think he deserves major props for that match as well.
Yeah, he was my pick to win it. And I honestly, I kind of had the theory. This is something me and Matthew talked about last week again, Duncan, that it might have been possible for Cody to have been the wild card, thus giving him his opportunity to win the championship that he can't compete for, essentially. But as soon as, of course, the first match of the night was a ladder match, I'm like, well, fuck, I just lost all my predictions. Right? That's definitely not happening. But yeah, no. I think there was nobody in the match that wasn't good. Like, I mean, and even some of the stuff I love SCU. You know, that's another team.
Dude,
I thought that was a good way to have it open up too.
It was
with the two of them against each other. You know, like I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was.
They're both really good. And also, man, that their gimmick, this is the worst town I've ever been in. Like, I'm just like, yeah, because I've been to most of those towns, and you're right.
Yeah. What's funny is because, you know, I consider them to be faces at this point too, and it's such a. I mean, I don't know. Where do you stand on that? Because it feels like they are with all the BTE stuff, but then on occasion, I don't know. Like they fall into that maybe that tweener thing, but what a line for a heel faction essentially. Insulting.
It's hard to tell where they actually lie just because of like how few truly defined faces and heels you have in AEW.
Yeah.
You know, because like even who were the true heels? Because even Jericho's a heel, but he's Jericho, so everybody's just like, nah, we fucking love Jericho.
Jericho has his own category, I think, in wrestling in general. He's like his own thing. Like,
that's true.
And then even with Cody, like, yeah, he's a face, but uses a lot of heelish. Tactics.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't know. Do you think it was a good idea or not to have Cage be the winner in the end, like so soon, and thrust into obviously a championship opportunity, which they've already scheduled the match, right?
Yeah, for Fighter Fest.
Okay,
and that's where my problem sort of with it is just like
too quick.
Yeah, like why are you going to shoot your load that fast? And unless you're going to have Cage go over, because otherwise Moxley has just, beaten your last two big, debuts.
Right.
And sort of taken the wind out of it. Like, I don't know. I feel like it would have been better suited using it as a Money in the Bank.
Yeah. And not scheduling the match so soon. Let him kind of hold that, I guess, poker chip or whatever, or over him for a series of pay-per-views and be a constant threat and almost costing Moxley the championship and things like that. Like,
sure.
You're probably right. I think it is, yes, a little bit too soon for it, but. Remains to be seen.
So had it not been Brian Cage, I'm interested to think. So let's just say there wasn't this wild card. It was just the other talent in the match, the other wrestlers. Who do you guys think was deserving of that shot and deserving of a push to go up against Moxley?
I would have said Darby Allin because I could have seen him as a good contender because he's another one that I think you could have made work a good feud with Moxley. I don't think he has to win it necessarily either because he's kind of built himself up enough and been enough of a fan favorite at this point that he's going to be okay. He'll take a loss okay with that. And he will be the world champion of that organization at one point. It's just, he needs to fail a lot in that, that meteoric rise that will happen one day. So he would have been my pick. Of the others,
Scorpio Skies would have been my pick. I think that's who I picked originally to win the match, but I'm not sure. Do you have those what we said for predictions written down?
Yeah, I got them.
Near?
Yeah, I got them right here.
What did I say?
You actually went with Darby as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you talked me into it. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
see? He'll do that.
I will. Yeah. I will.
Yeah, I still won.
Yeah, you did. I think. Would you win by one? Would you win by one or two? I can't remember.
I think by one, and I think it was maybe that. I think it was maybe the opening match that it got me because you went Private Party.
No, yeah, that was the big one. I did go with Private Party on that one, and then actually, I must have.
Or did we? Or was it?
Okay, I'll tell you what. It was one because we changed. We had both gone with Britt Baker originally, and then you went with Ford, and I went with Statlander. Which kind of, I think, tied things up, and then you ended up winning because you chose the Elite over the Inner Circle in the Stampede match.
Yeah.
So,
and my reasoning behind that, Duncan, just so you know, was that the Elite could win this one and then that gives the Inner Circle the chance to do blood and guts again against the Elite, and then finally defeat them.
Yeah.
Because they didn't get the chance to do blood and guts, and I think they really want to fucking do that.
No, I think so too. They're holding on to that one, and they should. They should. What was the next match? I think it was MJF versus Jungle Boy, right?
MJF and Jungle Boy. I thought this match was pretty good. I thought
sleeper match.
Saw a good amount of stuff of like a little bit of the high flying stuff, and we saw some aerial and quick moves, especially with Jungle Boy. But there was a lot of really good like mat work and kind of like technical wrestling too, which I enjoyed. And
a lot of really good just storytelling in general throughout the match. It was I think it was a well-paced match. I think both of them look great for it. MJF's one of my favorites, in the company at the moment. I loved his, selling of whatever the fuck that move was on the apron that he got. It was almost like a DDT, wasn't it?
And then he went over the one where he flipped over. And onto the.
He did the Triple H kind of sell where So I enjoyed that. I thought it was overall a good match. Kind of surprised to see a clean victory. That was that was definitely surprising for me. I could have seen that one definitely being a bit of a schmoz. MJF can get away with that, so
I mean, I guess they wanted Jungle Boy to look strong, but they didn't want MJF to look like he had to. Like, they still want MJF to be a contender for some of the bigger names.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
So you have him win clean over Jungle Boy, which doesn't hurt him.
It doesn't hurt Jungle Boy. It's the same way him going up against Jericho in that match. Remember the 10 minutes or whatever, then everything. Like, he's proving himself over and over again. Kind of the way you were saying about Darby Allin. I mean, obviously two different wrestlers, but same type of thing that Owen was saying. It's like he can afford to lose again and again and again right now, but he's being put up against amazing talent, and he's proving that he's amazing talent as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to the ladder match, I also want to say that I love Luchasaurus.
I love him too. Is it just me though, or has he been slightly a bit step behind since his injury? In the ring, I feel like he's just
So the very first bar wrestling show I ever went to, he was there and he was supposed to compete, but he was injured then. I think that he's had some injury problems on and off for the last few years. So
I think when you're a guy that size too, and with some of the shit that he does, it's just prone to happen. Like, it's gotta fuck up your knees and all that. Like, taking that much weight.
Boy.
Yeah, doing all those goddamn acrobatics that he does.
And he has a master's degree.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, and he's a dinosaur.
No, it was part of the gimmick on being the Elite for a while. Like, everything that he said was just like, he's like, yeah, but I have a master's degree.
Yeah. It
didn't have anything to do with anything. Just like, and I'm like, I know somebody like that.
Okay, great. Yeah. So a great match with MJF and Jungle Boy. I think the right person did win, like we just discussed. What was the next match? I think it was Cody Lance Archer.
TNT Championship.
Yeah. I was a little underwhelmed. I was a little underwhelmed with this match.
I thought it was good. I was a little underwhelmed. But I still think it was. I still think it was like a solid match. I would give it a solid B. Overall, yeah. I wasn't overly impressed, but I got what I wanted out of it, which was Lance to come in and, like I said, like literally just like fucking murder him
the floor with
for
him
a little bit, and just like literally like just work Cody really hard and get in a bunch of spots, which right from the get-go when the bell rang, that's what happened, which I thought was good. It seemed, I don't know, at a certain point it went maybe a little long. I don't know if it was just because of the whole thing with Tyson and everything. I don't really understand why Mike Tyson was there. I do understand that he's coming back this week on Dynamite. I don't really know. I thought it was hilarious when they cut to him at one point and he was yawning. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Funny story about that.
Much of his own brand.
Funny story about that. I have a friend that works for AEW. Now, his friend, who's been working with in production for years, was running camera for the first time that night. And and he was the one that had the
I got
shot
him.
on mic at the time when they cut to him. So the director was a little bit pissed at him, like, "Yo, you gotta warn me about that before you fucking, you know."
It's like, bro, you were the one that, dude. Do you know how fast camera switchers fucking work?
Oh,
you don't
yeah,
have time to warn them.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it was more of a joke that they were ribbing him, you know, like oh, of course, first time on camera, you're the one that shows, you know, Mike Tyson, yawning and falling asleep.
Yawning.
Yeah, falling asleep. The belt is hideous, though. We all agree.
Oh, it's super hideous.
The belt is fucking horrible.
It reminds me of the 24/7 championship.
It's not far off.
It reminds me of it looks like a fantasy football championship belt that you'd get for like $90.
Undisputed belts. It looks like one of those that you can buy, like design yourself with. Dude, bowling champion and shit. Yeah.
And also, I saw some shit going around on Twitter on Sunday that was a gold overlay on the belt.
Yeah.
But they had just taken the big gold belt, like the WWE, WCW,
right?
Like the big
big gold.
And they had just overlaid that on the design, and I'm just like, it still doesn't look very good.
No, I mean, there's pictures that came out today. I don't know if they're like official, but or if it's like a mock-up or what exactly it is. But it might be the same one that you saw, and it does look better. But it still doesn't look very good. It still looks kind of cheesy and.
Well, they had mentioned during the match that, like, due to COVID
it wasn't
and stuff,
done.
They couldn't get some of the gold and things like that. But regardless, to Owen's point, I think it's like still, you can't do anything to help that belt. Like, you look at the AEW championship belt, you look at the tag championship belts
the
that
women's
they have.
Belt.
Yeah, and it's like those are good-looking belts. Why are you deviating? And I guess I understand that you don't want every belt to look exactly the same, but you could keep them in the same vein, or at least you don't have to make them look like that. That it's also reminiscent of like the WWE tag titles to me.
Yeah,
like the newer
exactly.
One.
Well, and why the red strap? Why the red strap? Like that was my biggest thing. Is like
seems unnecessary.
Is that like? Is that a TNT thing? Is red like a TNT branding thing?
I suggested to Owen, I was just like, they should have just made it the Jacksonville teal.
The Jags teal?
Yeah.
That shit could have looked like a lot better, honestly.
It could have looked a lot better.
Oh, they could have done that and then put like black diamonds and shit like that in it.
And then had it then if you did gold on the Jags teal, that would look real fucking sick.
That would look good.
So, but like, I don't know. As it is right now, not a fan. First belt miss for me.
I'll say this. I'm not big on the women's though either. The women's is too small.
The women's looks great. I can't talk about that yet.
Well, no, you can, but it's more appropriate for every other female wrestler than Nyla Rose. I'll agree.
No, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I get that completely. I still think even for those women, it's a little too small. Yeah, it really
looks
is.
Like a belt buckle belt. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost more. It's even smaller than like the first NXT Women's Championship belt,
which was pretty small.
Which was fairly small, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some. Was that the one that Xavier?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't talk about it. Don't.
So yeah, overall, wasn't a terrible match for the TNT Championship. We're underwhelmed with the belt. Where's it going from here, though? Is the bigger question. Is there a rematch with Lance Archer? Is that feud done? Does Cody? Yeah, where are we going? And if not with Lance Archer, what happens with Lance Archer? Does he get pushed more into a main event scene, which would obviously be weird with the win-loss thing, but that happens a lot. You lose.
What if he wins? I don't know. He could take out Cage, I guess. You do some sort of sidetrack from Moxley versus Cage and have him take out Cage. But you could do something with that. I think he's
going to end up in the main event.
Sure.
Yeah, you're right.
Picture. I think he has to.
And then they're doing a battle royal for Cody's first challenger tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So we'll see who's in that. That'll be a really good indicator as to, some potential. Obviously, we'll figure it out before we have a chance to record again. But.
Sure. But no, yeah. Does Cody probably keeps this for a little while, I'm guessing.
I would think so.
I would think so too. Yeah.
He doesn't need to, but I think it makes sense because he hasn't had a belt in a while. And I just think I think in their minds, it's going to add to the prestige of it. Like in my mind, it doesn't make a fucking difference, but I think that's the story that's going to be told.
I agree with that completely.
He'll probably lose it all out.
That's a good call. Yeah. I kind of see, I mean, back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, hinting at with the heel tendencies on Cody, I can see him turning into a bit of a prick champion, right? Like, I can see him maybe going with this reign a little bit more into the heelish side.
I mean, he was being a little bit more of a dick on this week's Being the Elite.
Yeah, he was.
So, I mean, he does walk that line. Like, he's a face when he needs to be, but he's usually kind of a dick heel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe Tyson knocks him out, takes it back, and then goes and beats up Rob Gronkowski and takes the 24/7 title, and then goes back to his ranch and
then bites Evander Holyfield's other ear off. And
exactly.
Yeah.
They made a video of him giving him back the piece of the ear.
Did they really? What?
Yeah, I saw it online yesterday. I swear to God, I'll find it. I'll send it.
Yeah, you got to send me that. That sounds amazing.
It was hilarious.
All right, so next match is the first women's match. Am I right? This is where it starts getting a little hazy.
This goes into the women's match. Penelope Ford and Chris Statlander.
Kind of an unfortunate one. I feel like Britt Baker would have probably been winning this match had she not got injured. And they probably did have to just kind of like roll with the punches and like do this on the fly. So, for what it was, I guess, fine. I like Statlander. I think she has promise. I still think she's like a little botchy and clunky in the ring though at times. And I get worried for that.
Yeah.
I don't know
I get worried for that too. I mean, overall it wasn't a great, I mean, comparing the two, Penelope Ford, I think, looked more like a star.
Yes.
Well,
she just does in general, though. Like, look at her.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, look at her.
Look at her.
But that also goes, the Statlander we were talking about last time on the podcast, I don't buy into the gimmick fully.
Yeah, you're not into it, are you?
The alien gimmick?
No.
That's not even really what bothers me. I don't like the boop. The boop annoys me. The nose boop.
Yeah.
Boop. Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
Save that for doggos.
I think they just need to make her more like stray a little bit away from the actual alien side of things and just make her quirky. And if she just she's just kind of, quirky and weird, like I think that'll play a little bit better than the Andromeda Galaxy bullshit.
Yeah. I agree with that. I will say, just because I know we were kind of talking about this earlier, and Duncan had brought up the fact that Adam Cole was at the after party.
Oh man.
I did read prior to seeing him at the after party, and this was sometime last week. I think it was before this show, before Double or Nothing. We had been reading an article, and this could all be a work. Who knows? Because what Duncan you're saying could have very good merit. I don't know when his contract is up, but they were saying that originally, so Britt Baker was being interviewed, I forget where, and she was saying originally that she wasn't, or that Adam Cole was not allowed to come to any AEW event or taping or anything like that, was not allowed to go to any AEW related event whatsoever. And so apparently that was the case. He just stayed in the hotel like the last time that they had a pay-per-view, stuff like that.
And that's gotta suck so much too, because he's friends with all those guys.
All those guys.
Yeah.
Super good friends.
Exactly. And now they've changed their tune where they've said he can't, and I hope I'm remembering this correctly. Someone on the internet, I'm sure, will correct me. But it was something to the effect that she said that they've changed their tune. He's not allowed to go to the event, but he can go to events. Like
right, like the after party,
so like an after party or
okay.
something is like, you know what I'm saying, like, or like
a non-televised function,
a non-televised function,
and the fucking
something like
gall,
that.
like
So she did mention that last week, but again, he then shows up in the background of a picture. You know, I mean, who knows? Fucking people, you can read into anything. I mean, let's speculate wildly.
Yeah, of course. Adam Cole to AEW confirmed.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's that whole thing, isn't it? No, it's it would work. I guess we'll just talk about it now. Why the hell not? There's so much they can do. Seeing him being back on being the elite will be cool. I don't know how he comes back from the dead though. You know,
I mean, Joey Ryan came back from the dead. Matthew and I were
no,
there.
no, he didn't. He didn't. He's a hologram. It was
no. He was res erected.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yes,
my bad.
At All In, he was res erected
by a bunch of penis druids.
The penis druids were hearkening the resurrection.
No, 100%.
Of Joey Ryan.
100%. Following match after Statlander Ford. What do we get into? Oh god, this
Dustin Sean Spears, which was like kind of a waste of a fucking match to me. I don't know what, like, I don't know what that was or why it was like that, but it was fucking stupid.
It was stupid.
I don't know what that was or why that was that either, because Jesus.
And I thought they would have thought a little bit more of Sean Spears than they clearly do, or he's cool with just kind of his role at this point.
He'd have to be cool with doing that.
Yeah,
but he was being billed, like, especially with like Cody and everything in the chair shot, like such a fucking badass.
Yeah,
you know, like, and like, really, why turn it into him into a joke now?
Yeah, I think I said it to you yesterday, the day before, Duncan. Right? Like, I guess he's a comedy character now, or comedy act. Like,
seriously.
And why would you have him with fucking Tully of all people if that's what you're gonna do with him?
Well, and speaking of Tully, like, we both thought that picture of Tully on his underwear was his balls hanging out.
I really did.
I was like, is he having a Daniel Bryan?
He's having a total D-Bry.
Although I could see them doing something like that, where they just like do a fly through a slit, just throwing a ball on TV. Like, that would be an AEW move.
That's a very meta AEW thing to do.
Yes, exactly. Unfortunately or fortunately, it wasn't. It was, a pretty stupid, just kind of, I mean, to call it a match, is maybe even giving it a little too much credit.
Also, what was the point of, I don't understand, like, the fake entrance first and foremost. Also, don't understand why why am I blanking on her name?
Dustin Sean.
No, Brandy. Like, why did she have to come down and like cause a distraction? And also, what the fuck happened with her being so fucking like dark and twisted, and then that going away so quickly? They
gave
like,
up
the
on
whole
that.
thing is so fucked.
Okay, me and Duncan have said this a couple of times. When things, at least with AEW, haven't been landing, they've had the sense to switch gears. The Nightmare Collective thing that was happening with her and with Kong and all that clearly wasn't going anywhere, and it wasn't getting over. And I think they just said, all right, we're giving up on that one. I think she still maybe is a little bit of a bitch, like that's part of her character still, but I don't know that they I think they maybe had the sense to get away from that, and I don't mind it completely. It's like, it's probably for the best.
She's like this weird hybrid version of Stephanie McMahon and somehow cuntier Stephanie McMahon.
Still bang them both.
Look, obviously, Jesus Christ, obviously, like, we could do an entire episode about that, but we don't need to.
No, we don't.
But it's interesting just because, like, I don't know. I don't think she's really gonna wrestle that. It is gonna be like Stephanie McMahon. She's not gonna wrestle that often. She's gonna be a cunt, and which is, for the gimmick. But I just didn't get it. I did not get the false entry. I didn't get him saying to start counting.
Yeah,
none of it made sense to me, and like there was no part of me going, I can kind of like correlate this to a storyline and like kind of chalk it up and like see like they're kind of trying to play into it. Like, it was a fucking disaster, and it made like Dustin has already been busting his ass, but like it made fucking John Spears look horrible, and I guess maybe that's what they wanted to do.
Look any better either.
Yeah, it was just kind of unnecessary. I'm wondering if they maybe like that was thrown in as filler because they maybe thought just for length of pay-per-view, or maybe something with somebody injured was supposed to happen that like just to throw like maybe kill 10 minutes or something.
You could have killed 10 minutes by interviewing the people in the crowd instead, if that was really what it was all about.
It's true. It was almost it was a very WWE moment for AEW is what it felt like.
Yes, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
It was a bummer.
It was. But okay, so we'll move on from that. What was next?
Next women's match.
Yep. Okay. Now this all right.
This one was all right.
This was another sleeper. This was something that I feel This
was one of the better ones on the card for me.
Yeah. No, it was. I mean, beat the fuck out of her with a kendo stick. Like, she knows how to use one of those, I guess. Like, she might not know how to do a lot of other wrestling things. But Nyla at least, she's got her kendo skills down.
Are definitely that's the one thing when you get into professional wrestling, they give you a kendo stick and they're like, you got to learn how to use this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because this is like the main place they're used, not even just in kendo, mainly professional wrestling.
I'm pretty sure that they gave Sydney one with his like NXT welcome package.
Yeah.
His workout gear.
It's your orientation.
Yeah, we might make your mom hold it above the ring at one point, and like, you know,
while she's standing on a forklift.
How much do you think kendo sticks cost?
How much is a kendo stick? I bet I can get one on Amazon for $12.99.
You think
$12.99?
I'm googling this shit right
Google
now.
that shit.
$29.99.
You think that's cheap? I'm thinking
$19.99.
I'm going 50.
What do you guys think?
I'm gonna go.
I'm going 50. I'm going $50.
You're going 50? I'll go 30. I'll go mid-range for 30.
All right. All right. What are we? I mean, what kind of kendo stick?
Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
What are the first three choices?
First three choices? All right. So I typed in buy kendo stick into Google, right? So I'm just going to click the shopping.
That's not how you work Amazon, bro.
Well, I wasn't going to. Okay, I'll do it on Amazon then. Hold on. Jeez, fuck.
He's very demanding.
Do you
Here, ready?
Do you Google YouTube?
Kendo stick. All right, top.
Is that not how you do it? You don't Google YouTube to get to YouTube?
What? I do that. No, I didn't Google Amazon. I just thought maybe Google would have more options. I don't know.
Yeah, busted his balls. It's great.
Hey, by the way, Owen, what before I say this, I just want to throw this out there.
What?
Because you posted on my Facebook timeline, which I'm rarely on, some Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah, dog.
And then on Ono Radio Show this past week, you were talking about Jeff Bezos.
Right.
And Amazon and like doing like a night safari or night zoo.
Yeah.
What if he took all of his money and he went head to head with Rainforest and he did Amazon Cafe, and it was like an Amazon themed cafe.
You can't
and
beat
had live animals and you did that shit.
No, you can't beat Rainforest Cafe.
It was run by Joe Exotic.
No, that's the whoever the owner of Rainforest Cafe is the only person qualified in the world to actually take down Jeff Bezos.
You and I looked that guy up one time at Rainforest Cafe and talk shit about him in front of the bartender. She was not happy, but he also had the dinosaur themed restaurant and the UFO.
Kelsey used to work at.
Yep.
Me and Matthew are so fascinated with Rainforest Cafe and how stupid and dumb and cheesy it is, but we love it.
That was in Vegas last year, was it not?
Yes.
And I will always go to it. Yeah, last time I was in Vegas for work, I actually just went over to the Rainforest Cafe and took a picture in front of it just for Owen. Like it was like a return to Mecca.
I was really pissed off when I went to New Orleans because I was gonna try and find one in New Orleans, and of all the history, all the things that you can go to, and all the wonderful restaurants. I was gonna go to the Rainforest Cafe just for Matthew, and
doesn't exist.
I couldn't find one.
I will go to T-Rex and Rainforest Cafe because they have them both at Disney Springs.
Yeah.
There you go.
Next time you're down in Orlando, Matthew, We're going to
Rainforest
Cafe
Fuck
for
yeah,
damn sure.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
That's my
I've never
spot.
heard him so
all right,
excited.
What did you get for kendo stick? What price? I said 19.99.
I was going 30. I was going 29.99.
And I went 50.
All right. Fuck. I technically both of you won and I lost because the top 3 results on Amazon are $26.95, $27.95, $55, and $55. The next one, the 4th most popular one, is $59.95.
All right, me and Duncan like somewhere else. I'll split the victory with you. I'll call that a tie.
Yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that tag team victory.
It does make me interested in possibly acquiring one.
Acquiring a kendo stick because board quarantine purchases.
Well, I need one for studio protection.
Sure. I mean, I understand because I also needed the shirt that I bought that showed up today. That's Nicolas Cage from Con Air photoshopped onto Poe Dameron from Star Wars. It's the greatest fucking thing I've ever seen.
It's amazing. Moving on. Okay, no, not moving on completely. We do need to talk a little bit more about the match and just the fact, like, I don't think no one saw this coming, right? No one saw a title change to Shida in this match.
Not that title change.
No,
Yeah,
definitely
no,
not.
I think I called Nyla.
We both did. We both did, and we like very quickly called Nyla when we were doing predictions. Like, oh yeah, both agree. Way too soon they took the belt off her. Blah blah blah, and surprised they did, and actually. Pleasantly surprised they did. I think Nyla's gonna.
Don't hate it.
I think Nyla can be good later down the road. I think her character was actually coming into its own a little bit before all this, but Shida is going to be a much stronger representative for what that women's wrestling division can be over Nyla.
Well, I agree with that. I think that she can also, and nothing against Nyla because she, can do this, but I think that I think now you're going to be able to have a lot of other more competitive and show off a lot more women wrestling in these matches as opposed to Nyla just destroying and body bagging these bitches.
Really about all you can do with her, right? Like,
yeah, and that's a big part of it too, is that Kenny Omega was such a big part of, he's the one booking the women's division in AEW right now.
Yeah.
So like that it's not the style and the direction that he really wants to go in with that. So this is also a better representative.
He can do more with this.
Yeah, you can absolutely do more and do many more like sort of high flying athletic moves that are going to get people talking.
Go ahead, Matthew.
I was going to say, and I hate to say it's going to sound like I'm coming off as like an insensitive dick, but I don't care because it's not the case. I just think that it may be the truth that AEW wanted to do something different and put it on somebody who was transgender, like, and make a mark and like make this milestone in wrestling and like for anyone, who's transgender and like, which I'm completely fine with.
Yeah.
And make her the first women's champion. But I think that has now run its course, and I think you can now get into some of these other wrestlers. So I think I don't think Nyla Rose is by any chance going away. Like Owen said, I think like her character was coming into its own. So again, not trying to be insensitive or anything, but I think that there was a chance for them to highlight that community and be able to put it on a pedestal by doing that for a moment. I think that was smart by them. But I also think that it was a good chance and time for this to change.
It definitely grabbed some media attention, as it's naturally going to do. I think it did its job. It did its purpose. It showed their openness to that type of thing.
It shows that they're inclusive, and it shows, and it just the same with having Sunny Kiss on the roster.
Yep.
And by the way, give me more Sunny Kiss.
Yeah,
please.
No kidding. He's very underutilized.
Oh, just fantastic.
Criminally underutilized.
Yes. So, I do like that there's just a lot more of that inclusivity. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like it does give more, like they showed that they weren't afraid to make their, like in their history books, the first, women's champion is a transgender woman, and more power to them.
Second.
But second, whatever. But to put a transgender woman in the in the record books at all, which
Yep.
is something that WWE would not do.
No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So for them to be inclusive,
I mean, for
great.
fuck's sake, not that it's the same at all, but they had a hard enough time with China getting into the Hall of Fame.
Right. And she's only like in the Hall of Fame on a fucking like asterisk technicality.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit.
I will say this though about that one match about Nyla Shida. It felt like a Kenny Omega match a little bit though. Like he you could tell he agented that match. He had some say in that one. And this is how you do this type of match with these two women. And it was the first time I might have missed it before, but it was the first time I could see that, like in the sense of you could see his stamp on it. And in a lot of the other matches before this, I've never really felt that. Like it's never really had.
It was kind of directionless.
Yeah,
a little bit. Didn't have a signature sort of nondescript, a vanilla match.
Yeah, it was just kind of there. This actually felt like, oh wow, this might be a turning point for the women's division.
There was a whole arc in the way that the match happened. I 100%
storytelling again. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I think I like this match. Like, again, way more than I definitely thought I was gonna like it. So fantastic work from both of them. Guess then it goes into it's Moxley, right? Moxley, Brody Lee,
Mr. Brody Lee.
I can't say I hated this match by any means whatsoever. I mean, I don't think that it was a 5-star or 4.5-star match, but I think that what I wanted out of it and what I said last week when we did the podcast was that I wanted them to be able to pull out the stops, and I wanted Brody Lee to be able to showcase who the fuck he was and the things that he was capable of doing. John Moxley has obviously already proved that over and over again, so I don't think this is in his top matches by any means since he has left WWE. I would put some of the New Japan stuff and some of the other AEW matches in there, definitely ahead of this. But I will say that for the most part, I was happy with this match. I was not overly ecstatic. I was just like, okay, like, this is kind of what I expected. I will say I don't know what you do with Brody Lee and the Dark Order now that he's been fucking beaten. And I think he made like a remark on Twitter or something like that following this, and I forget exactly what he said, but he's like, for now I'll just say good match or something to that effect. It was, but it's like, if you're this like overarching entity and power of this organization or group or something like that, like, and like, I didn't think he was going to win. I don't think you can put the championship on 3 ex-WWE people in a row.
Yeah.
It has to be somebody else, and I don't think he deserved it at this point. So good outing, but now I think it's kind of hurt the Dark Order and it's hurt the gimmick.
Okay.
That's just my opinion, but I think that at least we got to see like a little more than what he was capable of showing in WWE, which I appreciated.
What are your thoughts, Duncan?
Oh no, I completely agree. It was a decent enough match. Like, it wasn't anything spectacular. It was just kind of like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's tough because I want to see the Brody Lee character, and I know that Brody Lee has talent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know he has a lot of talent, and I know that, like, when he got signed by the WWE initially, there was a lot of buzz. It's just like, oh man, this guy's going to be great. And then that never happened
because they never utilized him correctly at all.
No, and like the half pushes and the all that shit that they put him through for years and years, and now you get to the point where he's free of WWE. He's in AEW. He's getting this big push, and it falls kind of flat.
Yeah,
and I don't want to sound like a dick about it because, like, more power to him for trying, but like, he didn't live up to the hype that everybody.
I don't think so
been.
either. And I was kind of surprised at your reaction, Matthew. To be honest, I think me and Duncan are more on the same page with this one. Not to be both of us be the cynical asshole here, but we're good at what we're good at. And and
stay in your lane, fool.
Right. I was very underwhelmed with this match. I thought Brody Lee looked slow. I thought he looked a little gassed. I think that Moxley pretty much carried the whole match. And I thought that Brody Lee didn't really do his part, and I think it's going to hurt him because for so long people have been saying this guy can do so much and he's not utilized. I just think it's maybe a little too late, like with him. He might be just that step. He's a little bit too old. Maybe I think it hurt him a lot when he left with that one injury, and then finally when he came back. Do you remember how like small he looked in comparison? Like he'd not clearly been working his shoulders. He'd not got the upper body that he once had. And that's still the same frame that he has, I think, pretty much to this day. I think he might just be at that point where he's not quite there. He's not main event material. I think that might have been part of the mistake with all of this, is that he probably should just stick in a mid-card range, an upper mid-card range. But I don't know that he's ever really should be in, unless he improves dramatically, if he should be at this point in the main event scene.
I think that's a fair point, but I think
it did more for you than it obviously did for me.
I mean, because I also wasn't going in expecting gangbusters from
right.
it, you know, like I think a lot of people like didn't know Brody Lee and like read a lot on the fucking like internet about like, oh, he's going to be this much better and he's going to, you know, and I think he was better than he had been in WWE, which is I think why I like, because I didn't go in with this expectation if he's going to be like this hardcore motherfucker and you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's why at least
it was just
for me.
It made more sense. I again don't think it was an amazing match. I would never put it up there with any of Moxley's matches post WWE, you know, as being one of the best. And again, like I said, I don't think it does anything good for Brody Lee's character. But as far as like the match was happening and it happened, it was okay.
I honestly, I enjoyed the stage, you know, spot. The crashing through the stage spot was pretty cool.
The table flip that he did with the librarians.
Yeah, that was cool. I will say that maybe they need some better stagehands, Duncan, around there if they're going to be building stages like that just.
I'm just saying that just
collapse like on the random. That's no good. So
you
should send him a
100 pounds of pressure.
Send him a strongly worded letter for us, please, if you don't mind.
I sure will.
Yeah,
you know, I'll get right on that. I'll draft a notice.
I'll put my John Hancock on that. I'll do that.
You're just gonna try and put your cock on it.
Oh, that's true too. All right.
Yeah. By the way, I gave you my my access to my Gmail to so that you could and VPN so that you could actually watch Double or Nothing, Owen. You have yet to send your dick pics to all my contacts.
Yeah, I said that's what I was gonna do to all his contacts. Was
yeah. So because I sign in through like to Fight TV through my Google account, so you can't just put in a password and email, you know.
Yeah, such a pain in the ass, to be honest.
Password to my Gmail, and so now I'm just waiting for.
Do you want this guy having access to all your email?
Anyway, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, good friend. You're a good friend. Oh, moving on. Last match, and well, what the hell can we say about this other than holy fucking shit? Brilliance. Bravo, guys. Bravo.
There's a lot of things that I know we're gonna touch on, but I will say I did mention this when I was watching it to Sue. I was like, do you think that like Tony Khan just went to his dad and was like, hey dad, can we use your stadium?
Yeah.
Like, I want to do a wrestling match.
Come on. Yeah.
I think that's exactly what happened.
I mowed the lawn.
I made you like another few $1 million, like that you really
You're
need.
not using it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. They're not using it right now. Come on, it's just sitting empty.
It's the equivalent.
Didn't you say that like the team was pissed about?
Oh yeah, apparently from some of the insider information that I have, and I can't really reveal sources because it's like I'll never get any again. But Yeah, it turns out that the Jacksonville Jaguars are pissed at the like the amount of, I guess the field was all tore up from the ring and having a goddamn horse come out and run.
Whatever, fuck them.
Yeah,
you know what
like-
happens at a fucking Super Bowl? You ever watched a fucking halftime
not-
show?
but
That shit is fucking ridiculous.
The Jags wouldn't know about anything that happens at a Super Bowl, so you got to give
They
them a
would
little
not.
slack. You got to give
And
them.
also, like if they were upset because there was pyro
Yeah.
early in the morning.
Well, that was-
and what I said
Yeah,
was fuck them
fuck 'em.
because they're Jacksonville and they should be goddamn lucky they got pyro because they're trash and they don't deserve it.
Yeah, the apparently
Were they pissed? Because I actually mentioned that when the fireworks went off at the end, I was like, I wonder if people like in quote quarantine or like, you know, social, like, you know, sitting, they're like, what the fuck is
The
going on
fuck?
at the stadium?
Right. Well, funnily enough, from the same guy, I learned that match was recorded the night before. Clearly, it was pre-taped the night before. They started about 8 p.m. and went through about 6:30 in the morning recording that match.
Oh shit.
So
And you could tell that it was early in the
Yeah.
morning, especially at the end spot.
100%.
Because how wet the stage was that
Yep.
they were on. I was just like, oh,
That
yeah,
Flor-
early
that's that
morning-
Florida
morning
morning
dew.
dew.
Yep.
Yeah. So they only had the fire marshal there until about 5:15, 5:30. They ended up sitting off that last pyro spot that pretty much ended the show. That shot went down at 5:08 in the morning. So, yeah, Jacksonville was not pleasantly
on a 5:08 on
Yeah.
a Friday
morning, Saturday morning at that point.
Saturday morning at that
Yeah.
point. Oh, well, then
Yes.
fuck them.
Yeah, well,
Once
Su-
again, it's
Sunday morning.
Jacksonville. No, Saturday, because it happened the night before and the
Oh
show
yeah,
was
night
on.
before, yeah.
Yeah, it always fucks me up that they're on Saturdays too.
Yeah.
But like at that point, there's enough gunshots going off in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
at that
exactly,
point, and sirens.
exactly.
Come on, fuck off.
Nah, they'll be fine. Not a big fan of Jacksonville. I'm gonna go ahead and say that, but I love the
Yeah,
complex.
hard stance.
I really do love the Daly's Place, where I've gotten to see
Yes.
the New Year's Eve show or New Year's Day show rather. And I think that honestly, this match, there's so much to mention. We can go through some of the highlights, but they completely took what I think WWE would love to be able to do, even with like a Money in the Bank type scenario, and just shat all over it. It's a lesson in this is how you do a cinematic match. Like that.
Well, and the fact that they actually, so they had the ring in the center of the field. Like WWE had the ring on top of the towers. There was barely any wrestling. There was actually wrestling that happened in that fucking ring at the beginning, which I
Yeah.
thought was amazing. Then following that, the spots and the fact that you could then follow everybody. And I thought it was really funny that they mentioned that there was like 20 cameras.
No,
like you would
they
need
wanted
20 cameras, and they're like,
cameras.
oh, they just told me in my in-ears it's 18 cameras.
Yeah.
You know, I thought like
JR,
I love the way they
JR is just like, I was ignoring that.
yeah, I love the way they poke
Crotchety
fun
old
at
JR.
themselves for that. But I would say, and I don't know if maybe we should go around and just say some high points for ourselves.
Sure,
and
that's a
then
great
maybe dig
idea.
in, but I would say a couple of the high points for me. I thought once they actually got to that pool, which I didn't know there was a pool at that fucking stadium. I thought I
That's
love
the most
like.
Florida shit
Oh,
ever,
yeah.
too,
Well,
by the
I
way.
thought it was fucking amazing, and I love that there was the Matt Hardy changes, and I love that there was
Yes.
a camera under the fucking water,
Uh-huh.
and you were able to see that because I love. Sorry, I got so excited to hit the mic, but I love that there was like the week before, like when we saw the match, and he was like changing. He came out of the ice cooler and everything, and he was like went through. But I love how every time he went down, he came out differently. And like so, he's going like.
Yeah.
Underwater, and then he's like, yes,
Yeah,
like
and then he's doing the
underwater, and then
V1.
comes back up. And I just thought that was hilarious and amazing the way that they
The
did
Matt facts or the matter of facts.
Matter of
Like the-
facts.
it. Yeah, the
Come
matter of
the fuck
facts
on.
that popped
Oh
up.
my god.
It was amazing. So I thought that was a really big high point for me. I think that there were so many other ones. I think that the Hangman thing,
all the Hangman stuff was fantastic, and just when he stops and he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna have a drink in the bar.
Yeah, and then he sits down, and Jake Hager like comes up and he's like, so did you come here to drink or did you come here to fight? And he's like, guess it's both the same. It's like, yeah, there's that fucking cheesy fucking B movie line that I fucking was waiting for. Yep. And so it was so funny when he's having the drink with Kenny Omega, sitting there with my girlfriend, and she's like, this is the first time she's ever seen Kenny Omega like in a match.
Oh wow.
Like, and so I was like, not Kenny's best outing, so don't judge him on this because he is my favorite. But regardless, as they're going to have the drink, she's like, oh, that looks like sweet tea instead of fucking whiskey or something like that. And I go, yeah. And I was like, fucking Kenny doesn't drink though, and everyone knows that. And then as soon as I said that, they pulled out the milk, which I thought was fucking great.
Yeah. And then they like cheers, and the milk goes into the whiskey.
Oh yeah, that's some interesting whiskey milk that Hangman put down. That's not a drink I'm willing to try right off the bat.
My favorite part goes also back to the pool, and it's when Santana's in the pool and Ortiz is on the outside, and he's like, "Get in here!" He's like, "I can't swim."
Walks in.
Yeah,
he's like, "I can't swim." He's like, "What? You can't swim? Quit being such a pendejo." And I'm just fucking like.
And because it's like a 3-foot pool,
3 feet or something like that, and they're like, he doesn't want to get his hair wet. Yeah,
dude. Those two guys.
Well,
like, I was telling
when
Owen,
they literally rung his bell too, and he's
good.
like,
through the convulsions.
like, and so to quote, well, is it Robert Downey Jr.? Like, you don't go full retard. He went full retard.
He never went. He did go full retard,
and it worked.
Yeah,
dude, I love LAX.
Even
Proud and Powerful.
I don't even think they're calling him that anymore. They always just call him Santana and Ortiz now. I haven't heard him mention Proud and Powerful like in weeks,
I don't know
honestly.
what the fuck they are,
it's
but
weird.
Those two are fantastic.
Yeah, I think I need to go back and obviously watch some of the bar wrestling stuff that you've told me about. And
dude, the Progress show that I saw them at in Boston was really good. Like, man, those guys tear some shit up.
No, they definitely can, and I think they're going to come more and more into their own in AEW. We've only seen the tip of the iceberg with those two so far.
Well, and considering they were our first interview last year,
they got
prior
all
to
fucked
Double or
up.
Nothing, we actually didn't have the recorder set up right.
No, it
so
did.
We
It
didn't
just
get to release it, but remember that they were our first interview.
Yeah, absolutely. And it recorder essentially just like it's one of the Zoom. I think was the H5. I can't remember which one it was, but it's the one with the dials on top. And if you essentially I had it in a fanny pack, and the dials got knocked, and you can't lock them. It's stupid. It's a bad design. So
it was a bad design, and there was no way to test until after.
Well, we figured it out. We figured out how to use it after that. It's just unfortunate.
But we did interview them. We used them as practice.
I loved his whole helmet spot, how he could barely get the helmet over the
his fucking hair.
Yeah.
And Sammy Guevara, little young bastard.
Sammy did amazing in this too. I loved when he actually so he came to finally after going the entire 100 yards and the sprinklers, and he's like, I won.
I'm the only one standing. I won.
Yeah.
Dude, and those sprinklers hurt when they were coming out.
Those big ass ones on a football field? Hell yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I love that Jericho brought back the just that I thought was hilarious. But then the fact that literally there's a ball bag and they're just he's throwing the balls at him, and he's like, ow, and he did hit him in the nuts, it looked like once, but then the spot where literally it was like, no, call the replay
on the
3 count, and
you're a shitty ref.
You're a shitty referee.
You can't come in here, and they watch it. He's like, you're a shitty ref. I just thought that was hilarious. The whole thing, buying into it. I thought those Northern Lights suplexes going across the field,
the spot off the goalpost. I mean, it's endless. You can just keep going, really.
And then to end it, the one-wing angel.
That 30-foot one-winged angel.
Yeah, no shit. That was pretty fucking high up there.
It's pretty substantially high up there.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that that Matt Jackson wrestled apparently with a broken rib.
Was it actually broken? I didn't know that.
Apparently it was. That, from what I've read,
wow.
I mean, the internet is definitely wrong sometimes, but from
Once
what
in a
I've
while.
read, it was actually broken.
Wow. And he's the one that did the moonsault spot off the
Yeah.
goddamn goal. Like, all right, that could have just been Nick, but whatever.
Oh, what about when he ran up the stairs? He did the stadium run and then ran back down, and
So
for no reason whatsoever.
I was like, you're coming down slower than you went up.
Yeah,
right.
But I still loved it.
All of it was good. All of it was good. Jericho's clearly trying to get over Floyd now. I think that's his new thing, like with the baseball bat.
Yeah, the bat.
Not sure really where that comes in.
I'm not really sure where that comes in or how it fully works, but he'll put
it on a shirt and it'll be a top seller.
Yeah, and they'll sell fucking baseball bats.
They will.
Yeah,
they will. He'll get a fucking Louisville Slugger sponsor for his podcast. I guarantee if
it's not already up right now, they're also going to sell fucking Inner Circle jerseys.
Dude, he made it look cool. He made the jersey look cool.
Yeah, I thought it was great that they actually did like the run in like it was a football team.
Yeah,
that was really good. That was, I mean, and just like everything that you can do to use what you have to your advantage, right? Like,
sure.
It was so well done.
Best cinematic match probably ever, right?
Well, I don't know, man. Like the stuff on the Hardy compound was really good. Boneyard was really good. Like it's all sort of like it's just such a cornucopia of cinematic wrestling and like all of Lucha Underground.
True.
I still thought it was really fucking good.
It was.
I thought it was great,
and it feels like that. It's one of these things that they can do again.
Yeah, and I think that what they did is, which WWE didn't do. Like they knew it was ridiculous. They knew points were going to be comedic. They utilized the entire stadium, but they also had actual like wrestling, and and they actually had spots that were wrestling spots. They did not keep them too like separated too far apart, which I think was very, very prominent. Like they could go through and they could do like some jokey stuff, comedic stuff, like tell us a little bit of a story, do like a little bit of fighting around to get to where, but then it was like, let's do a couple of wrestling spots. Now let's get back into it. And I thought that at least, in my opinion, was what kept this going and kept my attention, as opposed to just people running around randomly, kicking and punching and pushing people into walls and then waiting to try and have it. So like it was wrestling in the sense that there was some wrestling, but it was also like a comedic cinematic way of doing it. So I gotta give them mad
gave it
props for
some
that.
legitimacy that there was a lot more actual wrestling in the match. And then I like that. I love the yin and the yang of that, you know?
Yeah. I also love that they did the little Easter egg to No Mercy when Santana took Kenny Omega and he Irish whipped him down the hallway, the way that you used to change parts of the arena in the Falls Count.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, dude. Okay, no, I didn't catch that until you just said it, but I remember exactly. And it was always a pain in the dick too, like because you had to get him just right to light it up right to get to the next scene or whatever. Yeah. I didn't catch that. All right, that's funny.
Yeah, straight did that, and I like they even, or I think it was Santana on his Twitter the next day was even just like, "Yep, no mercy. If you know, you know."
Funny. That's great. That's great.
So, I love little meta wrestling shit like
that. Absolutely. So overall, with the pay-per-view, what do I give it? I don't know. I think it's an A pay-per-view. I think it's a right standard A.
I was gonna give it a B+.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say B+. All
right, fair enough.
Like, but I think it was as far as
if it was not this day and age, I would probably. Well, maybe I should lean more towards an A actually for this day and age. No, like that argument as I'm saying, like in my head, I think you're right, Owen. Like in this day and age, they actually pulled off a fucking pay-per-view start to finish, which I don't think we've seen done. WrestleMania was completely different beast, but still didn't do it for me the way that this did in one night. So I'm gonna actually change to an A just based on the circumstances.
No, and honestly, like thinking about it in those terms, it's like you are right.
Yeah,
because if you put it up against the other empty arena shows and like
it's
what the
night and day, right
now,
yeah, it's night and day, and
like,
I think it's about as good of a show that you can do right now.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely it. And we were even saying, like, I didn't hate the piped in noise from the
during the stadium stampede match.
It was just subtle enough, right? It was just it was there, but it wasn't overbearing. It was actually mixed fairly well in there.
But it was
I feel like they had the wrestlers in dailies and they played it and had them do reactions.
That's what I was exactly gonna say, like, because that's what it sounded like. It sounded like the wrestlers, and you heard Vicky Guerrero clear his fucking day a couple times. So like that's exactly what I think was happening, and that even made it all the more like normal.
Sure. Yeah, because if you would have tried to do like, oh my god, there's 70,000 people here, you know, and you just can't.
Yeah, that would have been like, okay, that's too much.
That's
like
stupid.
We know what you have there,
right?
Like it sounds like what you have there.
Great. It worked.
And you can also, and you also had, like, at least at the very beginning of the match, you had the cheerleaders making noise out there, like around. So it was a little bit of everything. Like they were clapping, they were cheering and stuff. And my friend that I work with, of course, by this point, he shot everything. So the following day, it was the first time he ever said that he was encouraged to create noise as backstage, you know. Thing. I guess they had a whole after party after that, and they all watched it like as it was live, and like that, you know, that they were all having drinks, and like what a cool way to do it, you know?
Yeah,
that's super cool.
Do we want to just tie up a couple loose ends with a couple little bits of news and get out of here? Because I feel like it's probably about that time, right?
Sure.
I gotta piss like a mofo.
Yeah, we're almost.
Hey, can I throw something in, because we did last week we talked about Owen Hart and that type of thing. Obviously the anniversary and all that sort of stuff. So I actually went back and watched, just because I watched that night we had talked about Dark Side of the Ring, and Owen, if you remember, someone in the group asked about this season of Dark Side of the Ring, and I said I hadn't fully caught up. I'd only watched I'd only watched the Benoit episode, so that night I watched the Owen Hart episode, because I know Jay Jansen had posted something in the group as well, saying like you should
do yourself a favor and watch this.
So they mentioned one of the best matches he had was against Bret Hart at WrestleMania 10. It was the match that opened up the WrestleMania. That was at Madison Square Garden. So I went back this past week and watched that match. Fucking phenomenal match. I would highly recommend anyone go back and watch that match. Bret's amazing. Owen is fucking amazing. And I don't know, I thought it was very poignant that I like noted that from watching that behind or Dark Side of the Ring to that 100%. WrestleMania 10 match. And so I went back to watch it, and man, he was fucking good, man. The Rocket.
And speaking to that, so once that episode aired, they released the first official Owen Hart t-shirt since the accident happened.
Yeah, on Pro Wrestling Tees.
And I think within 5 days, it was the number 2 seller for the whole year.
Nice. And it was going to the Hart Foundation, right?
Yep.
Wow.
And I think that it's on track to be their number 1 seller of the year by like a mile.
That's crazy and awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I would highly recommend anyone listening to or watching this, even if you've seen that match, go back and watch that match. I had seen it before. Watching it again and just going straight to it and like just absorbing myself in it was awesome. Like that match was really, really good. Like the mat work is amazing. They both do a couple of amazing spots also in it. They work real. I mean, they're brothers that, but they like work very well together. And it was the first and maybe only time they had brother versus brother to open up a WrestleMania. And it was good match. So I'd recommend that.
Hell yeah. No.
Dude, that
said.
whole Dark Side of the Ring, like I haven't watched every episode from season 2, but the New Jack one, if you don't like blood,
dude, him at the end of that motherfucker being there like, how do you see yourself like in your old years or whatever? And he's like, I don't know, in a wheelchair, smoking crack.
I mean, at least these.
I mean, isn't that how we all see ourselves?
Yeah, if we're New Jack, for sure.
Yeah.
Please, Mr. New Jack, don't kill me. Yeah, but like that, dude, that shit was wild.
What about the carabiner on the Owen Hart episode, Duncan?
Dude, don't get me fucking started. I saw that thing and lost my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like as a rigger, I was like, are we serious? I literally have keychains with that shit on it. Like that exact same fucking thing. I'll only use it for a keychain because it's a quick release.
Because it's what it is. It's a keychain. Yeah. I have a
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, even like now they want goddamn, 3-point shackles. This was a 1-point shackle. It was
barely a 1
and
point.
barely a 1 point.
You have to have double locking. You have to have double locking carabiners on everything.
Yeah, but now they're going to triple locking carabiners as being the standard for that type of stuff, I believe, or it's coming through
as they should.
Yeah.
I mean, it just all you're literally doing for the triple locking is you're adding a thumb.
It's at the back. And you have to do the twist and the push. So it's thumb.
It's push, twist, pull, open.
I'm looking. I've got one right. I can see from my desk here. I've got a double locking one right up there that I have that may or may not have borrowed from a place before. In my time.
It may or may not. There's a high probability it may or may not.
I forgot how I got it. I don't know. Plead the
you
fifth.
said borrowed, so you might be giving it back at some point.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. It all comes around.
Yeah, it could totally happen.
But yeah, I knew you'd have very strong opinions on that. That's why I wanted to bring it up. It's tough. It's a real tough one. And if people,
real tough.
The fact that she has it, like, goddamn. We'll switch to something a little more lighthearted. New Japan, you said, it's coming back with shows soon, right?
Yeah, it's what it's. They lifted the last state of emergency in Japan.
Okay.
So apparently they'll be running empty arena shows starting June 19th, and then by middle of July, they're going to be running with 50% capacities.
They're going quick then, which is quicker than I thought that they would have been.
I think they also contained things a lot better.
Yeah. They were just so adamant for a while there, right? Like they weren't doing shows.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is like you'd rather be stricter up front.
Sure.
So they were already used to wearing fucking face masks.
That's true.
That happened after
I'm just
SARS.
saying, well, I'm just saying, like, it's a general thing, like, and they weren't doing it to, I think generally in their culture was not to protect, like, necessarily themselves. It was if they had a cough or a cold or 100%. Something, it was like going out in public, like they didn't want to transmit it. So I think maybe that's like, I mean, obviously we see, here in America, it's a bunch of fucking cunts just doing whatever the fuck they want. We're all too big to apparently do that. But regardless, I think that maybe it's because it's already ingrained in their culture. I think it'll be interesting to see because watching New Japan, I think we talked about on previous podcasts in the past year or two when we were watching New Japan shows, whether it's pay-per-views, Tokyo Dome, stuff like that, or whether it was just standard New Japan, just talking about crowd reaction, how different the crowd was in Japan. They are a little bit more of a subdued culture, and being able to see them, do that, I wonder what it's going to be like at like half capacity.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's probably not going to be as jarring as it has been with the empty arena stuff anyway. Yeah. So I say go for it, right? I mean, it'll probably work better over there than it will here.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah, even though WWE is already starting to like try and fill in live event dates and shit, so
yeah,
who knows?
We'll see. Speaking of WWE, Drew Gulak is apparently re-signed.
I saw that.
It's like, huh?
Okay.
Maybe he just got the money that he wanted in the first place. There were a lot of rumors to begin with about all that it was kind of a money thing, that he wanted to re-sign and they didn't offer him as much, and he's like, no, kind of fuck that.
We are. It's a weird thing too, because like he held out, got more money, got re-signed. Meanwhile, Gallows and Anderson are getting pissed drunk on their podcast every week and just talking shit about how we didn't want to sign that goddamn contract extension. Pretty much hated it as soon as we did. And it's just like, wow.
They're awesome.
I can't wait for their fucking no compete to be up, and they're just going to let that shit fly.
They're going to be
like 3 hours of them just burying WWE.
Yeah. I feel like they're going to be everywhere too. Like they're just going to do the rounds. Like they're going to go to everyone and then settle down somewhere. Like it might be first stop New Japan. It might be NWA. Then it might come to AEW. They might do a few other indies in between.
Well, and did you see he put a trademark on, was it Chad Too Bad?
Yeah, he's got Chad Too Bad. He's got it, and then Sex Ferguson has been trademarked.
It was Sex Ferguson
because
he's
doing it.
But I know that. But I know that Chad Too Bad, he actually put the trademark down recently.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It looks like they're probably gonna do their own little version of Southpaw. Like they're gonna do it by themselves or something. I mean, or whatever.
For them.
Chad is his real name.
Yeah.
So it won't be very hard to to do that. I fucking love it.
I wonder what they do with it, because Southpaw is, like, I think all of us, it's one of our favorite things like that has ever existed. So you can't do Southpaw without them, number one. So that's dead.
Right.
Like the fact that WWE, so for them to sort of, I mean, yeah, I'm sure they can't call it that, but essentially do what they want to do with that type of thing. And because they'll murder it. And especially with everybody that they can have now, working on that type of thing and like throwing in cameos. I mean, it'll be like the new being the elite in a sense.
It's just a question of if they want to be Southpaw or if they want to go back to the badasses that they were in New Japan when they were in the Bullet Club.
Why can't you do both?
I have a feeling they're going to do both.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
But I think that'll create a rift in the Bullet Club long-term storytelling.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I just feel like there will be at some point that rift that will develop between, and maybe Tama Tonga, because he's already kind of pushing a solo split right now through his social media as it is. So
I just don't necessarily see them going back to Bullet Club. I think that they could be badasses and go against any Bullet Club faction that's there, while being able to have the comedy aspect of a Southpaw with them, where they're like, like, they're like these heels that are like fucking with people, but they also have this little bit of comedic aspect of that.
The annoying American goes over so huge in Japan.
Yeah.
Like it would be huge. But they've already said that they're not going to do the Too Sweet anymore. Like,
well, they'll come back and they'll do a Chad Too Bad. They should do Mullet Club. They could do like so many fucking funny things.
So many things.
Yeah, Mullet Club. That's great. The only other little bit of news that I kind of wanted to bring up that's not even really news, it was just a result from last night, and I don't know if I care or not care, except that poor Andrade, because he just got beat for the U.S. Championship by Apollo Crews. And
we know how much you hate Apollo Crews.
I fucking hate him. He sucks. Like, cool, standing back flip. All right, get a personality, you jabron. He doesn't deserve.
And he's another one of those that had a lot of buzz on the indies when he got signed. So I don't know what fucking happened.
He's athletic, he's strong, but dude has no charisma.
No charisma.
No charisma.
And we all know that's the most important thing.
It's the most important part.
In
You
the
need some fucking
professional
charisma.
wrestling industry. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Don't ever take my microphone.
Don't ever
Don't touch it. Just don't touch it. And don't leave your championship title in the locker room.
That's all very, very good points. Very astute by all of you. And I guess we'll see you and do the same goddamn thing next week on next Tuesday, around 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. And Duncan, have a good one, my friend. Enjoy your evening.
Too, brother.
And you do the same, Matthew. And what do we say
do the same
when we get out of here? Woo! See you soon. Bye, Twitch. We'll see you next time we do a show. Fuck. Sorry.
Jesus.
Sorry. See you, Twitch. Bye-bye.
So violent.